world where we are constantly being stimulated with other people's opinions that we find on TikTok or YouTube or Spotify, could we be missing out on something when we exchange boredom with this constant need of stimulation? I think we can, and there are numerous studies that show that we are missing out on something by not experiencing boredom. I'm Mariana Solis. This is a Level Up podcast where we talk about everything personal development, self love, self improvement, basically anything that you need to know in order to level up. And today I want to discuss boredom, or the lack of boredom that we are experiencing in today's society. The other day, I was in the car with my boyfriend and I made a little bit of a joke about somebody crossing the street. We were waiting for him to cross the street so that we could turn. And I told him, "How much do you want to bet that he's going to pull out his phone right now?" He did. And then I was like, "How much do you want to bet he's going to put it away the second he crosses the street?" And he did. And I knew that this was going to happen because I had done it oftentimes. The awkwardness that I felt crossing the street, I didn't have anywhere to look. I didn't have anything to do with my hands. I didn't really have anything to be doing. And so, because I wanted to avoid the feeling of nothingness, I pulled on my phone and pretended to have something to do. And I know that that guy and I are not the only ones to do this. Why is it that we are so accustomed to constantly be doing something? We're constantly trying to do something productive, fill up our day so that we could feel productive. Even in moments where we're just walking, crossing the street, we feel like we need to have something to be doing, so we pretend to be doing something. Nowadays, when we see people doing absolutely nothing but maybe just staring into the distance, maybe spending some time in nature without having anything in their hands, we look at that as peculiar. But when somebody is doing something, reading a book, watching a video, listening to music, like as long as they're actively doing something, well, that seems a little bit less odd for us. I'm oftentimes preoccupied with this idea that I am wasting my time, and so I always try to have something to do. But are we missing out on something by never experiencing boredom? I would argue that yes. I believe we need to start embracing boredom and stray away from this overconsumption of media. My first reason is the fact that we live in a very stressful world. We're stressed at work. We're stressed about our future. We're stressed about the little problems in our life. Even our own thoughts can become stressful at times. Last week, I was experiencing an immense amount of stress. But I also felt like I needed to get my life back on track. And I was like, why don't I start listening to more self help podcasts or audiobooks? And that's what I did. When I was cleaning, I was listening to a podcast. When I was cooking, I would listen to an audiobook. But somehow my stress did not go down. I wasn't expecting it to. I just felt like if I was doing two productive things at once, it would make me feel better about myself. I was listening to a podcast episode on self development, and my cat did something. I think she got on top of the table, and I just got so mad. And I realized it was because I was just overstimulated. I had to worry about cleaning, I had to worry about my cat misbehaving, and then I also had to pay attention to a podcaster telling me what to do. I turned the podcast episode off and just let myself focus. And to my surprise, I entered this state of like meditation almost, where I was truly just living in the present, truly just worrying about the task that I was doing, and I felt a lot less stressed out. When we're consuming media, doesn't matter if it's good media, we are forcing our brain to obviously be on so that it could comprehend what it is hearing. If I'm doing that all day, every day, not giving myself a break, not giving myself a moment of silence, a moment to just let my mind wander off, I'm obviously gonna feel extremely stressed out. And that was my first realization of like, maybe I shouldn't always have something playing in the background. Maybe I don't always need to have some sort of background noise. And so for the rest of the week, whenever I was doing little tasks like cleaning, cooking, whatever it was, sometimes even driving, I wouldn't listen to anything because I wanted to give myself some sort of mental break. And I felt a lot less stressed out during the week. Now, is this something that I'm going to be doing moving forward? I don't know. I enjoy a good podcast episode. I enjoy a good audiobook. I enjoy some good music. So I probably won't eliminate that altogether, but I will be more mindful of when this consumption of media can lead to overstimulation and can lead to just me feeling a lot more stressed out. But because I allowed myself to experience boredom and experience just silence, I made another big discovery. I realized that the best of my ideas have stemmed from me experiencing some sort of boredom, where I didn't have to focus on something, focus on somebody else's opinions, and I could just let my mind wander. A little over a year ago, I decided to start my cosmetics line. I was listening to a video on how you can make money online. And then my AirPods died. Took a moment to just think, how could I make money online? And that's when I realized I had a passion for cosmetics. I had a passion for lashes. And so I started my cosmetics line. My podcast episode ideas, a lot of the times it's the same thing. I watch a podcast, I get inspired, or I'm on a walk and I'm bored and I let my mind wander and I just come up with a topic. And I found a study that could correlate with this. It's the Back to the Future autobiographical planning and the functionality of mind wandering. The studies showed that boredom actually leads people to consider their future and set goals. And it's normal, right? When you are not taking in others' ideas or what other people are doing, even if it's just like videos that are meant to inspire you, you're able to reflect on your own dreams, your own ambitions, your own future. And reflection is pivotal for change and for growth. Because think about it, all of those podcasts, even this one, or those TikToks, they're all opinions. People are sharing their opinions online. So when we are watching content, consuming content, we are consuming other people's ideas. And when we don't stop for a moment to really reflect on those ideas, we can just take them as reality and accept them without ever questioning if we align with them. Overconsumption of social media has become so terrifyingly detrimental to the human's ability to form one's own opinion. It's become so easy to idolize figures on social media, whether it's your favorite self help guru, your favorite podcast hosts, whoever it is, we start idolizing them, and then when they share an opinion, we take their opinions as our own, and we start losing our ability to think for ourselves. Because even if two people are extremely similar, they are not going to have the same opinions about everything. And when we start taking others' opinions as our own, we lose the ability to fully understand ourselves on a deeper level. Because we're constantly consuming content, constantly consuming opinions, we're missing out on having deep conversations within ourselves. You know, the little voices in our heads. We're not paying attention to the little voices in our heads telling what our own boundaries are, what we're okay with, what we're not okay with. Not what our favorite guru is telling us what we should or shouldn't be okay with. And I experienced this firsthand in my love life. For so long, I wasn't able to build healthy relationships because I was constantly taking in others' opinions on what I should and shouldn't settle for. TikTok was telling me to adopt this hot girl mindset, this don't settle mindset. If he doesn't pay for all of your expenses, you're settling. If he doesn't do this or that, you're settling. And so I carried that into all of my relationships. Oh, he's not reading my mind? Even if it sounds so stupid, like I'd literally be like, oh, he should know why I'm mad. If he wanted to, he would. I was never communicating what I wanted a person to do, then I couldn't really blame him for not doing it. But because nobody was talking about that online, everybody was kind of just in this era of if he wanted to, he would. I missed out on potentially healthy relationships. I missed out on learning what I actually valued. Because, truth be told, I don't need a man to give me a wad of cash. I'm sure you've all seen that video of literally, like, if he wanted, it was a video of a girl just putting out her hand, and then the guy gave her like a stack of money. And then the caption was just, if he wanted to, he would. It had millions of likes. To some people, that may be important. And there's nothing wrong with that. But to me personally, like, I didn't need that. But because my For You page was just videos and videos of if he wanted to, he would, I started to believe that, like, oh shit, if he's not doing this for me, I'm settling. That all stemmed from just constantly consuming content without reflecting on the content I was consuming. We don't always need to be stimulated. We don't always need to have something to watch, even if it's just a show. Like, we don't always have to be consuming content. There's a lot of power that comes from boredom. And I'm not saying never watch a podcast episode. I'm not saying delete TikTok and Instagram. I'm just saying take moments where you can kind of silence everything, silence all the background noise, and just focus on your own thoughts and focus on learning who you truly are, what your opinions are, what your values are. It's wonderful now that we have a tool, our mobile device, that can show us all these different opinions, hundreds of stories, hundreds of movies, hundreds of books, hundreds of people's lives. I mean, actually, a lot more. It's so amazing that we're able to really understand where people are coming from because everybody is telling us their opinions, why they think this way, and that's interesting. But let's not forget that we don't need this in order to understand ourselves. We already have so many opinions right here, so many beliefs right here, so many values right here. Let's take a moment to reflect on those and to understand those, because once you start understanding yourself, you open the pathway to living a better life, one that is actually aligned with you, one that is actually fruitful and will make you feel happy. So, some of the things that I'm going to be doing in order to kind of just allow myself moments of silence, I already started doing some of them on my walks. I go on a walk almost every evening. I'm not going to take my AirPods anymore. I'm just going to look at the views and just think. I noticed that I started getting bored of all the content that I was consuming. Like, my podcast episodes were not hitting, my audiobooks were not hitting, and I would go on my walks and I would be bored because I wouldn't be listening to anything, so I would call my boyfriend. I'm gonna stop doing that as well. I just really want to prioritize moments of reflections, and I'm gonna use my walks as moments of reflections. When I wake up, I got into this bad habit because I work from home now. I got into this bad habit of, like, I wake up, I brush my teeth, turn on the TV. I'm watching Sex in the City right now. Turn on the TV and work. I'm not gonna do that anymore. I'm just gonna work. Maybe I'll clean up my room a little bit, do like little things like that in order to just not feel like I constantly had to be stimulated. While I'm cooking, I usually like to have like a good playlist. I love EDM, so I have like DJ sets. Today I didn't do that. And this allowed me to just honestly connect more with my pets. My pets are right there watching me doing everything, but I wouldn't really interact with them as much because I already had so much going on. I was paying attention to the music, I was paying attention to what I was making, but now because I'm only having to pay attention to what I'm making, I have space in my brain to pay attention to my pets and connect with them. So those are just some ways that I am allowing myself to just live in the moment a little bit more. And I invite you and I encourage you guys to also try to embrace the boredom, try to embrace moments of silence, and let your thoughts wander and see where they take you. You might have a new revelation about yourself, about your relationship, about your career. And that was all for today's podcast. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe. Until next time.